Hello everybody, my name is Tenelin, and 7.3 has released today, which gives us access to new Disciple of Land and Disciple of Hand crafted gear. This is going to be the final set. It is a full left and right side and both main hand and offhand tools, and this will be the set that we will use for the entirety of the rest of this expansion and will hold us off until 8.0. This is the best time to make this new gear if you haven't done any of the gear before, because it does have the longest time frame that we will be using it. You will need this for 7.4 in order to craft the new combat crafted gear that's going to be coming out for the new raid series, and it will also last for 8.0 to help you level up your gatherers and crafters once the new expansion is out. This is definitely the best time if you are a more casual player to make gear, so I highly recommend doing so. The best part about this patch cycle is that you also don't have any real rush to actually get this gear done. There's nothing in 7.3 that requires this gear until we get to 7.31, which will have Cosmic Exploration, which will probably be the best time to have this gear done by, but you have probably between 4 to 6 weeks until that's out. We haven't gotten the confirmed date yet, but that gives you plenty of time to gather up all of these items and get your own gear crafted so that you're prepared and ready to go. And then of course, if you only care about doing the crafted gear for the combat raid, you have a good 4 months until you need to have this gear ready. Just as a quick side note, this video will not be talking about melds. I will be waiting a day or two until I do my full penta melds. I probably will be following Teamcraft's guide. I usually will be going for the high tier melds, so if you want to get ahead of it, you can check out their stuff, or I will have a short video that I'll put out once I do finalize my melds. I'm just not going to be in a big rush because we don't really need them right now, and I don't want to end up wasting materia because the prices are kind of ridiculous right now. Like I've said a million times before, do not rush if you don't need to. There's no reason to have this gear, and there's no reason to FOMO or freak out of trying to get this done on day one. I personally just do this because I enjoy doing it. This is what I've spent the last couple of months prepping up for, so it really helps me get to the spot where I can make it day one without having any of the stress of trying to get it done quickly. If you have been following my 7.3 prep videos, then you are probably at the same stage that I am, where you're able to do most everything on day one, because there's only 2 new legendary items you need to gather, as well as a new Aethersand, and then you just have to craft with a lot of the materials that we already had stocked up if you followed that 7.3 prep video. If you didn't, make sure to subscribe so that you're in the know for the future patches. So let's go ahead and break down everything you need to know. The new gear is called the Crested gear. You do not need any new recipe books in order to craft it. It is the Master Recipe Book 12s that we bought earlier in the expansion. There are no new recipe books, so as long as you had those, you're good to go on that. As well, for the legendary folklore items, you don't need any new folklore books. They're the same ones that you got in 7.0. The expansions only ever do the 1 set of folklore books, so you're good to go on that. But if you haven't bought any of those, make sure you hop over to the script vendor, and both the folklore books and recipe books can be bought for purple scripts. The first thing I would recommend doing once you've gotten those is start to gather all of the new items. You are going to need a total of 117 of the new Levin Chrome Aethersands, and you're going to need a bunch of the new legendary gatherables, the Desert Lapis Ore. You'll need 200 of those, and the Cordia Sap, you're going to need 268. Because these are timed nodes, this is the thing that I would prioritize doing first, because you could only gather them in their set windows. Here's the Teamcraft list that covers the 2 legendary nodes, that Cordia Sap and the Desert Lapis Ore, and as well it has the Levin Quartz and the Calamus Root, which are the new Ethereal Reduction Aethersand nodes for both Botanist and Miner. There's also a fishing one if you prefer doing that. You can check that out. I would honestly recommend looking at Fruity Snack's YouTube channel for that. I'll link his video down in the description because he got that video out very quickly, and he's always great at getting those covered. He knows everything there is to know about fishing. The one sad part though, there is no spear fishing for the Aethersand on this patch, so you will have to use either Botanist, Miner, or just standard fishing. All of them are timed nodes. I'll also have this Teamcraft list down in the description and a video explaining it if you don't know how to use this. Just to really quickly cover these though, the Cordia Sap is in Mamuk, It's at the same node as the Cordia log, which is around 3721 in Yoctel, and it appears from 0 to 2 and 12 to 14 every day, 2 times per day, and you could gather it. That's approximately like a 5.5 minute window that it's up twice a Eorzean day. And then the other node is the mining node, the Desert Lapis ore. That can be found in Heritage Found. I would highly recommend that you're using high quality stuffed peppers as food, as they give you enough perception to be able to get to that 70% boon bonus. If you're using the high tier stats that Teamcraft provides with the with your relic tools, that just allows you to get that 100% boon bonus. So then you can use Mountaineer's Gift or Pioneer's Gift 2 to be able to get to 100%, and then you use the Tidings, Nalfaka's Tidings, or Naldhal's Tidings to be able to get to an additional item on that boon. And then I would use King's Yield 2 or Blessed Harvest 2 just to get that additional yield on those as well. This will just kind of help you get a lot more of those items per node, because they are timed nodes and you're trying to get as many as you can. You can throw in an additional bountiful harvest if you have the extra GP on 1 or 2 nodes. If you get an 8 integrity node, that'll just kind of help you get a few more of these. You are going to need a bunch of high cordials if you really want to do this at peak efficiency, just because a lot of this stuff does overlap. And I can actually pull it up here real quick. You'll see that the Cordia sap just spawned about a minute ago, and then the 11 quartz spawns at the exact same time. So they have this weird overlap time with these, so it makes it a little bit more difficult to gather these quickly. So it just means cordials are really going to be your friend here. Now for the 11 quartz here that I'm going to be gathering, I am just going to be using 2 meticulous just to get to that 400. And I want to go ahead and wait till I have 700 GP, because I'm trying to maximize the amount of gathers I can get on 1000 collectability. Now with these nodes, with my stats, I actually am using Torali Pineapple Ponds Cake for food on these. It just pushes my gathering and perception to a level that if I get lucky on a proc with my meticulous, I actually get to 500 collectability. If I don't, I'm at like 498. So these are a little bit higher stats than what I have available. It's probably because I'm using the relic tool instead of the pentamelted, and I don't have pentamelt on my tool. It's not that big of a deal. It just kind of slows down your gathering slightly, but like I said, you're not in a rush, so I'm not going to do anything to change it. On this one though, I'm going to do a scrutiny and a meticulous, and then I will do another scrutiny and meticulous. I'm not getting lucky here. I did get to 900, so that means I can use a meticulous. If I only got to 800, I would use a scour, but I will use a meticulous, hope for an integrity save. I didn't get it, but I have 300 GP, so I'm going to use solid reason. I didn't get the wise to the world proc, so this one is kind of unlucky, but at least I get 2 gathers at 1000 collectability. And then I can ethereal reduce these, and these should get me at least 2. I got 3 on that one. And I've gotten up to 6, I believe, just 2 on that one. And then anything that's above 400, you have a chance of getting 1, but you can also get none on these. So I just aim for going to 400 when I have no GP, just to potentially get some chance. But otherwise, I'm kind of just fishing for a revisit proc by doing multiple nodes. And I'm also just getting some crystals and clusters, which is always a good thing. So again, I'm just going to go ahead and use 2 meticulous, try to save a little bit of integrity and get to that 400 point. Gather all of these and just be happy on that. If I get a revisit proc, it's very helpful. I don't, so I'll end up using my cordial here off cooldown. Again, I'm not going to use any GP on the next node. I am going to wait till I have 700, and that's just how I'd recommend doing these. This is the exact same for the Calamus route, which is actually just over in this area, and that will spawn here in about 42 minutes. So these don't spawn nearly as often as the legendary nodes, so I would prioritize these as often as you can, because you do need to get to 117 of these Aethersands, and this does take a little bit more time. And of course, the final thing that you're going to need for all of these is to be able to get the new Scrip items and the older Scrip item that we had. If you followed my prep video, you did know to have some of these rarefied stuffed peppers or a similar crafter scrip ready to go so you could turn these in, as we do need to buy a new item for purple scripts. This item costs 500 each, and it is called the Mason's Abrasive. So you will need 117 of these to make a full set of crafter and gatherer gear along with all of the tools. So you do need a lot of scripts for this. As well, you do need the condensed solutions that we've had available for a little while here. Those are for orange scripts and cost 125 each. Same thing with this, you need 117 of those. This is a little bit easier to get, as the rarefied carne asada tacos do give you a lot of orange scripts. So you don't have to do as much work on these. The harder part is getting the purple scripts by far. If you don't have any items from my prep guide, you will also need to be doing the legendary folklore nodes from 7.2, the ones that were previously used for the combat gear in 7.2, and that is going to include all of these here. I will have a full list in the description for this Teamcraft alarm list. So if you're gathering legendary nodes, you should double up and get all of these items as well, as you're going to need these items here: the Cordia lumber, the diametry felt, the chronopia leather, octahedrite nugget, and the rhodochrosite. These items are from the 7.2 folklore nodes and are combined with the tomestone items that we had in 7.2, which you can buy from Zircon here for heliometries, things like the Neo Abrasive, the diatreme pelt, the chronopia skin, all of these here that are worth the 20 tomes each. You do not need the dichromatic compound, as that is for the potions. The only ones you need are these four here and the Shalawani Coke. Skip the compound here. This one is not used for the new gear. So it's these items here that you need. Again, I will have the full Teamcraft list down in the description that lists out every single item that you do need, but that covers everything that you'll need for the entire set. Once you have gathered a bunch of these new items and gotten this Scrip item, as well as the 11 chrome Aethersand, you can start crafting the desert lapis, as well as the new craftsman tri-solution. These are the two new items that are introduced in 7.3. They both use the condensed solution, but they use the new desert lapis ore, as well as the new Cordia sap for the craftsman tri-solution. These are the two new items that you'll need, and then you can start crafting the new Crested gear. These are pretty easy to craft, in all honesty, as long as you had similar stats to what I have here. So the 1408 craftsmanship, 4064 control, and 630 CP. You can actually craft these with only a Ronique stake. You don't need to use a cunning tisane, and I will provide the macro list down in the description. But this is for the level 70 gear. This one here is the first, and then the second. And for the 35 durability items, the new Craftsman Tri-Solution, as well as any of the older ones that we had, like the Chronopia Leather, there are all 3-star difficulty, 35 durabilities. You can actually use this macro here. Again, this will be down in the description, with only using Ronique Stake. And this one can be used for both of them. There's not too much difference in how difficult they are. As you can see, the difficulty is 5130 on this one, as well as on this one. The only difference is that the Craftsman Tri-Solution and the new Desert Lapis have a slightly higher quality that they need. So I just built into this macro to just do a little bit more quality, which covers the idea of being able to do the Chronopia Leather and any of those other 7.2 gears that we had before. These all listed here. You will need to make sure to have all high quality pre-crafted ingredients with these macros that I'm using. This just makes it a little bit easier to be able to do any of these crafts. It saves you a little bit of that headache of having to use a higher quality food or a craftsman tisane. I just prefer using the high quality ingredients. It does take a little bit more time, but you only have to craft all of these once. and then you can actually upgrade your gear to make it easier. You'll redo your macros anyway, so there's no reason to like figure out new macros for non-high quality ingredients until you get that new gear ready to go. I think that should cover everything that you need to know though. If you do have any questions, please let me know. I'll be around all day watching those, or you can join into my Discord. There's a ton of people in there that are very knowledgeable and friendly, and we'd love to have you there. Also, just want to do a quick shout out here to all of my members. My members really help support me and encourage me to continue making these videos, so I do want to give them a quick thanks. You can become a member as well for only $1 a month if you want. You don't have to. It just helps me out, shows me a little extra support, and I really appreciate it. It gets you a little extra thing like a high quality symbol next to your name in the description, and a special role in my Discord, and access to some of my prep videos and things earlier than normal if you want to get ahead of the game on those. Make sure to like and subscribe this video if you found it helpful. I will have a 7.4 prep video out in a couple of months, but I am going to be waiting until the new Cosmic comes out in about hopefully a month. And I'm very excited for the new Cosmic Exploration to see the changes that they put in. I haven't really talked about it yet, but the amount of changes that they listed out in these patches, I'm going to be diving into those. There's a lot of cool stuff that I am seeing and a lot of cool quality of life that looks like it's going to be a great time. Thank you very much and have a good one.